World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Have you mapped your exit route, your escape plan, your way out of working for a boss, a company, or a wage that doesn't excite you? How will you break free from the limitations of being someone's employee to the lifestyle of an entrepreneur? The Wealth Wave platform is your door to business ownership in the biggest industry in the world. Bigger than the second and third industries combined. It joins the scalability of team building with the size of the financial industry. With the Wealth Wave platform, you can avoid taking on the financial risks that make some startups unrealistic. Instead, low entry costs enable you to launch your business part-time with confidence. From day one, the Wealth Wave platform provides guidance to accelerate training, earn your insurance license, and build a team. A powerful suite of web-based tools and mobile apps make it possible to run your business from home, from an office, or from anywhere. Technology makes it possible to stay organized, take action, monitor sales, and track progress. Video training can be leveraged to elevate your professional skills and improve at your own pace. With modern marketing, you can reach out, shout out, and stand out on the web, on social media, and on mobile. Experienced mentors are at hand and incentivized to help you dodge missteps and level up. The Wealth Wave platform is designed to help you build your team as fast as your ambition can go. It's built to help you increase your sales with the assistance and automation of intuitive tools for a mobile-friendly, on-the-go lifestyle. It's focused on protecting your business from threats that could derail your accomplishments and your success. And it's poised to help you serve your clients with a range of resources as you develop your book of business. With over a decade of growth, an experienced team of leaders to support you, and the mission to improve financial literacy across North America, WealthWave has a rich history of innovation and industry-defining vision. The WealthWave platform offers you the chance to bring families throughout North America products from some of the industry's top financial services and insurance companies. Whether you're brand new to the industry or an experienced industry veteran, the WealthWave platform is different by design, engineered to scale, and positioned to empower entrepreneurs for generations to come. A year from now, will you occupy the same desk you do today, or will you sit at the head of your own business? Affordable, meaningful, doable. Consider the WealthWave platform as a door to your dreams and your future. It's more than your way out. It's how you'll enter a new era.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, giving you that checkup from the neck up, getting your financial house in order. Of course, as you see, my mission this month is on entrepreneurship. Why? Because we need more businesses and entrepreneurs in our community. This is how we will grow. I think about Black Wall Street, which I was truly honored to receive the Wall Street Pioneer Award. And that was 600 businesses that were self-sufficient and holding the community, where a dollar lasted in that community for 3 to 5 years before it came out of that community. That's economic power. So that being said, to get to that level, you have to reach certain things, such as financial literacy. You know, I definitely promote and believe in financial literacy and bringing forth the elements of it, of investing. You got to know better to do better. And so these are the things that we have to do. Now, I just would like to make announcements. Of course, we have the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book, written by Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold. And also my favorite, all right, I got a favorite because I have a quote in it, is How Money Works for Women. Take control or lose it, and stop being a sucker. So that being said, is if you'd like these books, you do have to, all you have to do is send an email to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com, and we will be glad to send you the books. State what book you want. If you want one book or you want both books. Some of you have already gotten some books. So, you know, we want, if you got an extra book, share it. Make sure. Information is so important, but it means nothing if you don't share it, because we need to educate the entire community, just not yourself. And so, as I also say, is that if you have a plan, then you're not planning to fail. So if you don't have a plan, you're probably planning to fail. So to do that, you may want to have a free financial overview. It's called a discovery call. So once you finish reading the book, there's no obligation, but if you'd like to have that free overview, that discovery call that says where I'm at and where I'd like to be, and what's my roadmap to getting there. So by doing so, what you do is that you just give the call to the office, 646-375-2121, and we'll be glad to provide an appointment and tell you what we need so that we can do your roadmap. Now, I saw regarding the both books, I see Ashante, thank you, brother. I need your address to mail them to, because they're not ebooks. They are physical books. So send to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com. And I will be glad to send both of these books. As a matter of fact, you might as well share it with your lovely daughter, Autumn. I remember well, even though I haven't seen her since I think she was like 5 years old. But that is definitely, these are the things of our financial literacy. We're going to dig a little deep today on financial literacy with our guest. Also, note that we are broadcast on the Soul City Network, a powerful Black-owned network. And I give all kudos to the owner of Soul City, Matt McCoy, and of course, his marketing specialist, Jasmine Pfeiffer. And also, we are also heard through WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And so I think that at this point now for 2024, we have a great opportunity to make some changes. And the way to change it is to change your mind. And if you change your mind or change your literacy, you can change your life. And so that's very important in making sure that you get yourself your checkup from the neck up. Also, be glad to share that we're on every Thursday at 6 p.m. and we give you as much as I can in that time frame. I have business owners, I have ideas and concepts, and that's what we're about, is to give enough so that you can get to your level of freedom. If you have any comments or statements or questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, and the producer will get back to me with it so I can answer your questions. But I had a little idea. So I'm starting in 2024. We will have the questions that can be answered, because I know some of you are kind of shy. I'm finding that out the hard way because I get a lot of movement once the show goes off. So we're going to have the Ask Dr. Jana at soulcity.me. That email is active now if you have questions, but on a regular, every show, we're going to address some of the questions that you have or issues that you have. Try not to make it like very personal. You know, I don't want you to know I got $57,000 in my bank account. Don't want to do that. But we do want to know I have a 401k plan and I'm debating whether I should participate and why should I participate? Those kind of questions. Okay. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you, because this is a time where knowledge is power. And of course, action is queen. Okay. So that being said, we're going to start in our show. I got to talk about this young lady before we bring her on. You know, once in a lifetime, you get a chance sometimes to see yourself in someone else. That's a God-given blessing. And though we haven't known each other long, this young lady has the passion that I have to bring financial literacy to our community and to our children. And just to tell you a little bit about her, she's an educator. And believe it or not, I think I am too, but I don't do it on this level. She's phenomenal. She's been working with youth, bringing forth financial literacy skills. Uh, One of the things is right now she's presently a guidance counselor. But she's more than a guidance counselor. She's a steward that's giving the guidance and helping folks to move with tools, you know. And one of the things is now she's working with what they call at-risk students to get them on track to be able to graduate. You know, I have found one of the most powerful pieces that we can give our children is to teach them about internships and working in the field that they think they know or want to do, to find out, do they really want to? So that being said, though, she has basically led her financial literacy crusade, and it is a crusade, and she started it, I believe, at the Boys and Girls Club, which is another place that we don't spend enough time working with our youth. You know, so I'm opening myself up. If y'all have organizations and clubs and that need to hear about financial literacy, contact my office at 375-2121, and we will be able to help you and have some events to help you to teach others. Because remember, Sister Alma John said, each one reach one, each one teach one. So back to my guest tonight. She has written a book. She has gone and talked at many sessions at different places across the tri-state area. And I just want to give her great kudos because we're on the mission and now I got a partner in the mission. So I'd like to bring on a sister from another mister. Yes, this is all a family affair. Erodita Agard.
Hi, good
Hi,
evening.
good evening and welcome to Access Wealth Nation. I finally got you.
I know. Thank you so much. I'm so excited and so happy to be here with you this evening.
That is great. So now the book, and we have the book. I know it's not easy to see it on screen. I've tried this before. Oh, he's got it for me. Oh, wonderful producers. It's called Power to Plan. So y'all heard about the plan. You got a plan or you plan to fail. Okay. And it's my savings in 12 envelopes. A quick guide to credit scores, savings, budgets, and entrepreneurship, which I thought was quite interesting. Most financial books talk about credit, savings, and budgeting. This entrepreneur thing, this entrepreneur, how did that get tagged on? Tell me about
So I'm so happy you asked about that because literally I am one of those people who just feel like if you get the attention of someone, why not just put it all in there, because you never know when you may see them again. You never know when you may reach them again, right? So
True.
if you happen to pick up my 12 envelopes, I want you to begin your path to financial literacy, right? And leave off with a little bit about entrepreneurship so that we are encouraging our young people and anyone who reads the book to become an entrepreneur. So, we really want our young people and even adults who haven't tapped into, their passions yet to begin to think about earning revenue as opposed to income. And I think that has been one of my missions. And it's just so great to see, like in a workshop where you talk to young people and, they're like, do you really think I can own my own business? I'm like, of course. And it's just great to see that, sometimes young people or adults just need to be in a space to ignite that fire that's always been within them and rely on that intrinsic motivation to become an entrepreneur.
That is awesome because it's true. I believe that all of us have come to this earth with a mission. It's just that we need to figure out who's going to pay us for it and how. And it doesn't have to come from a paycheck. I am not the paycheck person. My dad, when I was 8 years old, told me, look, he who writes the check is free. So if you're not writing checks and paying people, and I thought that was atrocious because I said, I don't want to give my money away. But he says, if you're making a certain amount, think about it. How much are you able to give to someone else and still stay afloat? That's business. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to figure this one out. But I'm glad because at the ripe old age of 19, that's what I did. I started my own business. I bought my own business, which was a tax office. And so I'm glad that you are, because I honestly, when I talk to children, even when I really talk to adults, but mostly children, I apologize to them. And most of them look at me like, what the world is she apologizing? I said, because we told you a lie. We told you you were going to go to school, get a good education, and then you were going to go get a job, and you're going to work on that job for 30 years, and then someone's going to give you half of the money that you earned, but you'll have that for life. And that was a big lie because that's not what's happening now. That's yesteryear. Today's world, we are in a world of work for a job for about 5 years, go to the next job, hopefully you do. No, don't stay there. You got to go. And we don't have pensions. We don't, all that stuff is out the door, but you can create your own. And I think that's awesome. So tell me, in the Power to Plan, um, tell me what really was in your mind. And I know how you got started with this. So I want you to tell folks what spearheaded this.
So, it's so funny how my children actually inspired me. So I've been working as a guidance counselor for about 10 years now. And, I feel like my last two cohorts of students, I'm a strong believer, if the kids don't want to go home, let's find a way to keep them engaged. Let's find a way to keep them in school. And, we kind of started talking about student loans. And, I'm that person who definitely shares my journey with my students. So I would even like log in so they could see my student loans and how much I owed. And, we kind of got on a topic about finances and financial literacy. And I just realized that, they just really didn't know much. And so I would tell them like, hey, do you want to stay after school? And then, I started teaching them about little things like about financial literacy. Then I started a savings challenge with them. And it got to the point where, a lot of them were intrigued by it. And a lot of students, got involved. And it got to a point where it was a lot for me. And, I don't like playing around with people's children and their money. So I said to myself, like, well, what if I just had a system that had these envelopes together? And I also think my advice is I feel like even when I'm doing something, I'm still not doing enough. So I said, what about all the children and families that I don't get to teach? So that's how I came up with my 12 envelopes. So in my 12 envelopes, you have a savings template for $1,000, $5,000, and $10,000, because I encourage the guardians to also save with our youth. And then we have 12 envelopes where they can make saving fun and tangible. So they can place their money in the envelopes. And then we also have a deposit tracker where they can track their progress to see how far they've come. And then each envelope also explores one fundamental financial literacy topic. So we discuss, how to create a budget, and even has some sample budgets in there for students to create their own budgets. We talk about the 5 factors that impact your credit scores and how that can even impact your car loans, and how 2 people pay 2 different amounts for the same car just based on that credit score. We talk about managing your credit cards responsibly, how $1,000 purchase with interest can end up being $1,600. These are so many things that our youth just don't know about, and they start receiving these offers right around, senior year, which is the group of students that I have now. And sometimes families just aren't having these conversations. So in my 12 envelopes, families and students get to explore all of these topics.
That is awesome. Yes, I know also you have the emergency fund, and it's well put together. And I'm going to say kudos to you because, if nobody wants to publish it for you, you go and publish it yourself. And that means you got skin in the game. Sometimes we just have to put our own skin in the game to make it happen, because this is a crusade. Do you also do classes on the book?
Yes. So I must say, I think this summer has just been a remarkable summer. Meeting you and being connected with you, through your brother. It was just like, just beyond my wildest dreams. And I think the response to my 2 self-published works has just been so encouraging, because, even hearing you say that it was well put together to this day, right? I think like, oh man, I wonder if somebody will look at it and say, oh, she should have put this in it, or it missed the mark. And, you always like think about those things. So it certainly took a lot of time to select which 12 topics I would explore in my 12 envelopes. And I have had people who who hire me and contract me to come and do workshops in schools and churches. Even some adults and families hire me to do like personal sessions with them. So I think overall the response has just been amazing. And it's just so much fun. Like, you know, when they say you should do something you love, I know that this is just something I just love doing. During the summer, my husband looked at me and he said, "You're supposed to be off for the summer. And I feel like you're working more now than you worked during the school year," but it didn't feel that way. I just felt so full throughout the summer. Like I was just doing everything, going everywhere, attending events, like just hosting workshops, facilitating and networking. It's just been an amazing journey.
That is so awesome. And I do agree. No, you didn't miss anything because the fundamentals are so important and they're not taught in schools. They say it's about 23 states in the United States that teach financial literacy on any level. And to me, the level that they're teaching it on is just useless because they're teaching how to balance a checkbook. We ain't got no checkbook. Okay, so what are we balancing? Doing a budget, that's good. But right now, the children need to know what they're doing the budget for. And I would say your book is not just for children, it is truly for everyone in the family and adults, because since they haven't been taught, how in the world are they going to be able to teach their children? So it needs to be a family affair. The other thing is that we're looking at what we've been doing in our community. We've done some really bad things to our children, you know, and I call it child abuse. Of course, nobody else would say that, but when parents take the child's social security number and
Oh,
open up
yes.
the Con Ed, the telephone bills, and then the worst case is the abuse is they make a mess of it. It's not like, okay, well, we keep it pristine so that when they start that, no, they messed that up too. They messed up theirs. Now they messed up the children's. And now we've got a perpetuation of destruction. And so the best thing that needs to be done is that what I think is that we need to put a clamp on these children's social security numbers and then teach them. Someone says we need this as curriculum for after school programs all over, especially in the urban community. I totally agree with it. You know,
Yes.
but the thing is that we can't wait until the school says okay. I don't know all the rules and regs with getting programs into schools because everybody looks at a dollar sign and they don't have the budget for it. You know, that's someone I was listening to. I can't think it was one of the shows regarding hip hop, and that we're missing the arts in the schools, the dancing, the things that released a lot of tension. That's why we got all this bullying going because they ain't got no energy, no place to put this energy. But financial literacy and the way that you do it in the book is that it makes it simple for folks to understand. So I was looking and I said, okay, you got the 52-week savings challenge, which, you know, I truly believe people should work with it. It's funny though, when they get somewhere around about week 40, they start acting ugly, like they can't put the money in there, you know. But still, it's an excellent part to it. The budget, I tell folks every time I do a seminar that I know I'm going to curse at them, just get ready for the curse. And then I tell them it's budgeting because they think that's a curse, you know, to have to put all of what they're making and then what they're spending in writing. Because I tell them, don't be telling me about these apps. I know apps are out there. That's really nice. You need to physically do that, you know, because we keep our budgets in our head and somewhere in there we're going to make a mistake, you know. So taking that into consideration, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about these envelopes because you named a few things about the envelopes. Now, is it that because I saw where you did the seal date, So what is the seal date? This is after you finish everything, or is it while you're doing, what's the seal date?
Yes. So, first, I incorporated the $1,000 savings challenge because I was really alarmed to read, a recent report that said only about 57% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings account.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about that, it's quite alarming, right? So that means that we have about what, like 43% of Americans who can cover like an unforeseen expense, an emergency of like $1,000. And that like really spoke to me because it means that we just aren't prepared, right? So I wanted to lay out for our young people, for our families, for them to see in 52 weeks, if you save just like any amount, right? That's in that challenge, you can make a plan to save your first $1,000. And then we can increase that number from 43%. That is my overall goal, right? And then once you see that you were able to save $1,000, then you can move on to like saving another thousand. Then we can get you to that $5,000 challenge or the $10,000 challenge. And I incorporated those templates just to give our families and students an idea of how possible it is to save this amount of money, right? Because you think about $5,000. Oh my goodness, like I can't even envision it. But now you can with my 12 envelopes, right? And maybe that won't be this year, maybe that won't be next year, but at some point, that is where I want our families to be. And I love that you mentioned the financial literacy in schools, because I think like around like June or July, another 9 states have now made it a requirement that students have to take some sort of like personal finance course as a requirement for graduation. And I feel like New York is behind on that because like thankfully in my school, we do have like a personal finance class. I agree with you. Like these courses everywhere could always be better, but it is a start. But when I
Yeah.
think about other schools in New York, the students don't see that. They don't have a guidance counselor like me teaching financial literacy, or it's embedded in the curriculum. So we still have a lot of high school seniors graduating in New York without any exposure to financial literacy before they are heading off to college or before they're transitioning into their post-secondary life. And we know like around 12th grade is where they start to get these credit card offers, and then they go and they don't understand that you're not supposed to use more than 30% of your available credit, right? They don't understand that you have to pay that money back. They don't understand that that $1,000 purchase can easily become $1,600 after interest. And now you've almost paid double for that purchase. Like these are the conversations that they're not having. And I think that we really do need policies in place to require this as curriculum in our schools, because as you said, we are doing our students a disservice in New York. And it's very sad and disappointing. And it just makes more work for us, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it's, being in the financial capital of the world and not having people financially literate and people not talking about it at the dinner table. Shoot, they don't even have a dinner table. People don't sit at dinner tables. They take their food to, to the TV, but we need to have these conversations. And I know that they've increased the statistics on how many states, but again, it goes into what are you teaching them? Because if you're
Exactly.
teaching me 1+1 is 2, I kind of got that. Now, every state in the United States has a class on sex education. Well, if that you teaching me something that probably they could work that out themselves. We need to have it where we can put this money behind it. And I know that Sharon Lecter, one of the authors of How Money Works for Women, she did with the Bush administration get legislation that states that the credit card companies are not supposed to send out those advertisements. Now, the thing is getting them enforced is another story,
Right.
but they're not supposed to, because she worked with, it was with George W., to have the legislation that they would not be able to send. Because, yes, I had a client of mine who was deep in debt, and she was only like 22 years old. And I was
Oh,
like, how did you get this way? And she said, well, when I was in high school, they gave me this credit card. And I thought it was great because I was able to buy my books, and then I could
mhm.
buy some food with it and do stuff with it. I just didn't know I had to pay it back.
Right.
And so it just kept spiraling and spiraling. And finally, she was in a lot of debt. And you were speaking about the elements of student loans that you showed to the students. And that's very powerful because, first of all, my philosophy is for undergrad, you should not be in debt. Okay, that's a no-no. If you're doing a specialty, okay, but you should not. And there's money out there. There's Candida, which is a website on foundations. There's things. There's like the beautiful Medgar Evers College here in New York. Does anybody know that they can go to school and get a MTA pass and go to school for free?
I think too that because a lot of these schools are right in our backyard, working as a senior counselor,
Mhm.
I have conversations with families where both families and students really look down on our colleges here in New York. But what they fail to realize is people come from other countries to
Just
attend our CUNY schools. People come from other states
that's
to
right.
attend our CUNY schools. And, we are kind of looking down on things and schools that are right in our backyard where our students can attend, like, for free or for little to nothing. And they're just overlooked because they're just right in our backyard. And I share my personal story because
Hmm.
my husband graduated cum laude from York, and he doesn't have any student debt. And here I am. I went to Ithaca College, which was an amazing college. I had a great experience there, but the tuition was also $42,000 a year, So I was lucky enough to have a lot of grants and scholarships. I left Ithaca with about like $20,000 in loans. So
Hmm.
considering my education was about maybe like 160,000, I was like, oh, 20,000 is good until it was time for repayment, right? Like, so, I think those are the conversations that we have to have with our students too, to let them know, just like you said, we have a lot of great schools here in New York.
We do. And the College of the City of New York, CCNY, is one of the top rated for architects and journalists, but they get no love for it. But yeah, and speaking of student loans, I might as well get on my chopping block for this one too. Is that if you have a student loan, you need to examine it and get it checked out. And if you need help with it, contact our office, because the if you don't make a change within that student loan by December 31st, you're stuck with it. And no one's talking about it, but the news is out there. You have to make some type of arrangement because the moratorium on the student loans was lifted, and they said you got to pay, but you can make negotiations. There are things and programs out there. I have a wonderful specialist that is phenomenal. She's so worn out right now, but if people are out there, contact my office, because she has made some of those student loans disappear with the programs that are here. And if you work for a city organization or a nonprofit, another way to eliminate how long you've been working for it. I'm going to say the other people, the very wealthy, they set up foundations and then have their children work for the foundation, which is a nonprofit. And then for 5 years after they work there, they're done. Long gone.
Yes.
So we don't have our own foundations, but we do work in public service. So we need to look at that to see the options. But yes, you can call 646-375 2121 and say you're in trouble, and I can lead you to a person who can help you. I'm all about networking. I know I saw a note up here. It was that most students don't even know how to write a check or to nor read cursive. Right, that just trips me out. I can't understand it. Here we are in 2023. I never
Mhm.
forget I had an intern a few years ago, and I need to go check up on him and see what he's doing. But I remember he asked me, "Can I write in cursive with for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're in high school. You should be writing." So my question was, how do you even deal with the SATs? I know they still have those, and you have an essay, so that means you print the essay. You know, that takes longer. So I'm not clear what's going on in our world today, other than the perpetuation of ignorance to, not helping anything. But yes, that's one thing. I'm glad you brought up the student loan and to share it. I say, to go to school. Yes, our city colleges and universities are excellent. And when you're dealing with undergrad in today's world, and you as a guidance counselor can tell me whether or not this is true, but you go to undergrad, you graduate, you're most likely going to need to go to grad school.
For most people, so depending on the field, you probably will have to attend grad school. For some people, like in tech or certain sciences, you may just be able to work with just your bachelor's degree. But some people do have to go on to higher education. And so that's where, if you have so much student debt already in undergrad, and then now you're pursuing your master's or even a PhD, now we're just tacking on more and more debt. And then, unfortunately, once you graduate, and it's time to repay, now you have debt on top of debt, on top of all this interest. And when it's time to repay, you can see that your loan payments will be quite high. Like I was maintaining 2 jobs and my student loan payments were over $400 a month. On
That's
top of, we know New York rent is it's not cheap. So trying to maintain, student debt payments and, paying rent and everything, it can become unmanageable for someone. And then you just feel like you're drowning and you're
yeah,
sinking before you even, had a chance to enjoy your, your
live.
first paycheck in work, and it makes things difficult. So
And
I
it's
usually
sad because
recommend.
the average person coming out of school with a $20,000 debt to start with, and then someone offers you a $50,000 salary, which back in the days used to be some money, but now it's not money because the poverty level here in New York, it ends at 42,000. So I thought 42,000 was something good, but that's like still poverty. So if that's the case and you're taking $4,800, which you just said, to pay a student loan, well, the average rent here is almost $2,000 for a 1 bedroom. So that's 24,000. Uncle Sam got to get their money. Social Security got to get theirs. Medicare tax, New York State. You don't have any money.
You do not. And it's funny, we're talking about rent because I'm also a licensed real estate agent. And when I was showing apartments and showing homes in New York, you walk in and it's just like, whoa, this is like pretty small for $3,000 a month. And I would just look at some of the families like, oh my goodness, you guys have to pay so much to be in an apartment and to rent. And even conversations like that, like we don't talk about building equity and like owning property, if that's something a family would want to do. But I feel like there's just a lot of conversations that we don't have in schools. I know that even just getting the financial literacy in schools, is a stretch. But I also think that we need to start exploring entrepreneurship in schools as well, because I remember one of the workshops I was contracted to do with Refined and Empowered. It was an amazing workshop, and I remember talking about entrepreneurship and building revenue versus income. And the young man, he came up to me, I think he was about 14 at the end of the workshop, and he said, like, I don't know if I could own my own business. And I said, well, what are you interested in? He said, I like t-shirts. And so I talked to him a little bit about drop shipping and how he could create his own designs and not even have to store inventory. And the way his face just like lit up, and he just seemed so encouraged. And I told him that for the rest of the week, I wanted him to try to like watch YouTube videos and do some research so that he can, learn a little more about starting his own t-shirt business. And that was all it took. I mean, this young man was with me for less than an hour. And, who knows where he'll be a year from now. So imagine if he had that exposure in school where it wasn't just me and just an hour, but he had a teacher, like, helping him work through those ideas for a year in school. I mean, we could have young millionaires all over.
Without a doubt. But you got to plant the seed. You just told him that it was possible. I believe in possibles. And then gave him something to go do the research, because there's just so much information out there. I talk about people go on YouTube, but they also can go on Udemy, which is isolated, it focused on specifically what you want to do, not just everything, but that. And there's sites that are out there. And then go find people in your field.
Yes,
that do it, and I'm glad that you're being contracted. For the most part, are these to schools, or is it to where's the most that people are able to contract you?
So, I mean, I'm open to all types of work. I know I have like a contract coming up to work with some students in like a credit recovery school, but it's been mainly like churches and nonprofit organizations who have partnerships with youth and individual adults who may reach out to me, who may want to set financial goals and work through that. So we'll just work on personal savings and budgeting. So it's been a little bit of everything. And I mean, it's just been so exciting because, I really just started this journey and published this book as something for, young people. And even like at Harlem Week where I met you, I had adults like coming up and saying like, oh yeah, I need this for myself. And then it kind of just blossomed into like, can you help me too? And I was just like, sure. And, like I was just really surprised, but it just shows that there is such a need. And it's like, at the same time, I'm excited, to do the work, but it also, it just makes me sad because I'm just like, oh my goodness, one of my oldest clients, she was about like 32 and had never even heard of an emergency fund. So I was so grateful that we were able to meet and then I was able to introduce her to these topics. But I'm just thinking about all the other, young people that are in their, like young 30s around the country, just without this guidance and not having these conversations. And I'm just like, the unfortunate part about it is, I do what I can, right? But I just always worry about like not reaching everyone and not being able to spread the message to everyone who needs the information.
And it's interesting you meant that. I went to a women's advisor. Yes, we are out here, and it was a summit, and that was the same statement. The thing that I saw is that a lot of them were investment advisors And again, it's a money thing, and there are levels of who they will serve. And that's one
Mm.
of the reasons why I came into this company, into WealthWave, was because I wanted the freedom to help someone who has $10 a month to someone who can save 10 million, and give them the focused service, and not be concerned about how much money I'm making, because I'll make money, but the education is so necessary. Right now we have 66% of Americans are afraid that they're going to outlive their money in retirement, because they have not a clue of what to do, or they haven't saved. They're talking baby boomers today. About 50% of the baby boomers have less than $50,000 saved for retirement. Well, if you are a baby boomer, you're turning 65 no matter what. So you need to have something put aside, and not a little bit. You need to have at least 10 times your take home pay, to be able to, because you're going to live longer than 10 years. If you're 65, 75 is not necessarily saying I'm clocked out, and that's where, sitting with a financial advisor is important. But before they do, they can sit with you or buy the book. So we're going to tell, how do they get the book? How much is the book? And how do they get the book? Because they need the book. Just like I give away the How Money Works book, only because it's like, it's economical. It's a lot of books out there. But for you, they need to pay for this book, and it's worth every bit of their need, to be able to get the foundation, to say, some people will say, $1,000, what's $1,000 going to do for me? Okay, let's look at it this way. It's 1,000 more than what you had. So you need to get out here and start, and then that 1,000 can turn into the 5,000, to turn to the 10,000, which can turn to the 20. But it won't if you don't do something. One of the things why I'm focusing in now on women is because come the year 2030, women will manage over 30 trillion, that's with a T, $1 trillion in this country. If we don't watch it, they're going to have red bottom shoes and Gucci bags. See, I don't buy anything that's got nothing but my name on it, so I can't even say some of these things. But that's what we're going to have, is a lot of folks buying stuff, not even buying houses, because the generational wealth is going to move towards the baby boomers, to Gen X, to Gen Z. So we need you to be out here doing these workshops, because
Yeah.
there's a need right now, you know,
Yeah.
and there'll be a need. And my thing is, where I want to see, like you say, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I don't either, and I feel that I would love to see a country of financially literate people, like how we had back in the 20s and 30s. People, some could not read. Okay. And and I witnessed it one day, even here on the Grand Concourse near where I live. I watched an older man stand in front of a building, and he looked lost. So I said, "Can I help you? Are you, maybe I can find where you're going." He said, "Yeah, can you read this?" And I was like, "Okay." It gave a number and the Grand Concourse, but he couldn't read. So he didn't know what to do, and he just stood there. And I said, "Oh my God." But today that's not the norm. We've got about 1-2% of individuals who are illiterate, but now we have all these people who are financially illiterate. Oh, here's a
Yeah.
question. How does one build financial security when they're already retired?
Mm.
You want to handle that one?
Well, I mean, I have my thoughts, but I think that you probably would be best to address that one.
Well, what I would say is, you need to, first and foremost, I would recommend getting the book and starting with some envelopes, putting the money away, and don't be shameful if you're retired. because while I was working and just started my jobs when I was in my 20s, I had envelopes. And the older women that were in my at my office would laugh at me. They're like, "You're putting your money in an envelope?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. I got things I have to budget." So the answer, in my opinion, to that is get a good financial advisor, do a budget, follow the budget, maybe hire them to be a little bit more stringent on you, and you can build. It's cutting, like what they say, tightening the belt buckle.
Yes.
You got to tighten, not forever, but for a while, so that you can build some financial security. Also, there are some vehicles out here who you can invest in that would allow you to get unlimited income for the rest of your life. You could get a certain amount of income for a limited amount of years. That's what I wanted to say. And they treat it like almost a secondary pension. So there are things that you can do, and don't go hog wild doing stuff. Stay within the budget, and then make sure you have that financial advisor that you got to sit with every 6 months, or just to look at what you do. What did you do, or what are you doing? So that's my take. But the key is, above all, especially when you talk to young people, is by putting away as little as maybe $120 a month in your 20s, all the way to your 67, which is part of the book, the How Money Works book. By doing so, you would unmask about $1 million. And with $1 million, if you take 4% of that every year, you have unlimited, you build your security and your wealth. I hope that helped you. And then, most of all, get a financial advisor.
Yes, absolutely. And I know you had asked before how people can get their copy of my Savings in 12 envelopes.
Yes.
So you can order online, www.my12envelopes.com. There I also have my first self-published work, which was the P2P Power to Plan Student Planner. So that actually has a $1,000 savings challenge. It also has a deposit tracker, and then it has, just a way for students and adults to stay organized. We have a weekly planner there. We have a calendar, a monthly calendar as well. And then we also have a to-do list so that you can organize yourself, a projects to complete page. And then we also have an acts of kindness tracker as well. And this was the #1 new release in the academic and counseling category on Amazon when I first published it last year. So that was exciting as well.
So this tracker, what does that do? The what was it called? The gift?
So it's the same deposit tracker that's in the My Savings in 12 envelopes.
Okay.
But it's just on one page, and it has like the $1,000 savings challenge as well.
Okay,
Just
I saw
to
that.
help students stay organized and begin the challenge there, and that can be found on Amazon.
Okay, I got it. And I see in here, which I think, because you spent that time dealing with the credit, and to protect their credit on going forward, going backwards, it's like covering all elements of that credit. And of course, I say to all of you out there in the wonderful world of TV and radio, there's a free annual report that you can get every year because you are a U.S. citizen. It is annualcredit.com. Do not pay for it, because it doesn't say free. You don't have to pay for it. But the ones that say free annual credit usually comes with a fee. So don't go to that site. It's your as a U.S. citizen to have a credit report. As soon as you turn 18, you're eligible. So go get it. See what's happening. and then
Yeah.
sit with a financial advisor.
Yes, yes. And that's actually something that we discuss in the workshops too, is the purpose, exactly like what a credit report is, because, some young people don't understand that, your credit report is kind of, similar to like your report card in school. It allows
Absolutely.
lenders to see, if you can manage your accounts responsibly, and you should check that frequently, at least once a year, because sometimes you can have errors on your credit report. For instance, my grandmother and I have the same exact name. At one point, my student loans were on her credit report, and at one point, some of her medical bills were on my credit report. So I had to fix some of those things. And, I think it's just important to, try to just encompass like all of these ideas and just make sure we're all well-rounded. A partnership that I also love to mention regarding the entrepreneurship too is on Instagram. I have a partnership with Sweet Scents. So she actually creates candles. And so I always encourage my young people that, you can start a business with like under $100 with stuff off of Amazon to create like your own body butter business. And with Sweet Scents, she teaches young people how they can make their own candles. She does like candle making workshops so that they can see how simple it is for you to even start your own candle making business. So this is all something that, can be done if, we have like parties who are interested. It can be done.
Awesome.
Yes, we really, really want to encourage all of our young entrepreneurs to just, not only become entrepreneurs, right? But we want you to have the foundation of financial literacy, because I think the unfortunate part about this is no matter how much money you have coming in, if you don't manage it responsibly, you will always be broke.
That's right.
As fast as the money comes in, it will go right back out if you cannot manage your money responsibly. So sticking to a budget, creating a budget, and then just focusing on, bringing that revenue as opposed to income, I think, will really, really just change our nation overall.
It'll change the world. I'm looking forward to it. So this has been so wonderful. I'm looking forward to having you back. I know we're serving on a panel with Resurgence. I just don't have any information for it next week. So by next week, listen in. It's on the 17th and 18th of this month. And it's being held at Riverside Church. Someone interested in hearing about it, I'll try to get the info. It's a shame we're being on this panel and we're not sure all the information, but it's something. It's about our economic empowerment, and also about our economic empowerment linked to Africa also. So, Erodita, it's been wonderful.
Oh, the pleasure is absolutely mine. And I just have to thank you again and Matt, because, I think a problem that I see happening in our community a lot is people like to gatekeep information. I remember the first time we met, we sat down and you shared so much information with me for like over 2 hours. And it just felt like I knew you forever. So I'm so appreciative of that. And just like really, really, it's just an honor to be here with you and to be connected with you. And I'm just so grateful.
Well, we're going to do some things together. We got more. I'm not finished with you. Okay. It was interesting with this women's summit, the Women Financial Advisor Summit. We said, where's the generation legacy being built? So I see you, and I'm so thankful to you. So I say to my listening audience, thank you so much for watching and listening to Access Wealth Nation. And again, thank you so much, Erodita. It's wonderful. Buy her book. And we will be I'll see you next week without a doubt.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you.
Great. And so everybody have a good night. I hope you learned something tonight, and keep going and get your checkup from the neck up.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.